Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Darksiders 3. So, oddly, it seems like we're gonna just immediately fight this giant tentacle monster, for lack of a better term. Unless I'm gonna go hit a bunch of these purple spots with the charged attack, and then it's just going to move his tentacle around, and this may be like the beginnings of a whole puzzle around the idea of well, I don't know what that is. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that kind of feels like that would have been just like a whole puzzle thing.
It fled into that underwater cave. We must follow.
Must we?
Yes. Now.
So it wants us to chase that. But there's this weirdness in that there's this other section, and we can see there's a whole even platform up there, and there's this whole section over here to go check out. So my only thought is that maybe we're not gonna see too much over here. Maybe this is a shorter experience area. I need to probably try and reduce the amount of damage I'm taking again, because we're starting to take more damage than we probably should be. And looking over here, this just looks like toxic water, and there is a collectible over there, which I think I can just reach if I find it when I get back to that direction. Yeah. This is definitely like the 4th or 5th time we've had something like this where you have different ways in which the game goes. And obviously, the smart move would have been to get out into the open area a little bit more, but even with that, that just summoned another one of these guys, one of these resurrected angels. And my health respite is losing its charges too fast now. I need some smaller enemies to fight. Well, I need to just in general become better at fighting, both of which is probably true. But yeah, getting all these little shards and getting collectibles, I guess, is a bit of a priority. Oddly though, it does also look like there's a way in which you're going to get up higher in this area. I can't help but feel like this is just yet another split in the weird level layout design, in which one way you go or another way you go. Yeah. And these guys are still somewhat of a challenge, but not really that much. And we're getting pieces of adamantium and all the upgrade collectibles you would want. Okay. And so this is, I guess, a bit of a puzzle idea of having a big purple block that you can hit. But it has to be purple, you can't just hit all blocks. And then over here we're starting to see more walled off sections, or just generally empty sections, so I'm suspecting that we're not going to spend a lot of time yeah, I suspect we're not going to spend a lot of time in these areas. Yeah. And fighting with your purple gravity ability doesn't feel like the smartest way to fight. Strategically, it seems fairly obvious that what the game wants you to do is mostly just focus on the fire weapons and the fire attacks. I may not actually be able to go anywhere here because we don't have the ability to jump across against the walls. Okay. This is more of a slide puzzle than it seems. And there are obviously very specific ways in which this has to go. And so if you had tried to do all of this while you were fighting, there's a possibility that you would have caused the cube to collide with it's a possibility you would have caused the cube to collide with enemies, but there's also, I think, just a very high chance you would die. And it seems like these hanging corpses of angels that you don't end up fighting are mostly there just for extra health refills. My respite now is back up to full 4 refills. And I don't imagine I'm going to end up actually doing anything more to upgrade the number of respite refills. Much more. I could see it going up to 5. Maybe even believe that at some point it might get up to 10, but not any higher than that. So that area, since we can't reach, we would just have to come back. And it seems like that is just how this always seems to go. Okay. So color me confused. I know there's a collectible there. We've gone full circle. What is the value in this being hit anywhere? It does seem just oddly unnecessary. Like, if I bounce it, where am I bouncing it to? I would say I'm probably supposed to be bouncing it that way. See, I don't know if this is really going to work because you're going to just get like an instant death if you get your feet too close to the water. We got some music, so that seems to imply that I did something smart.
It's another chosen.
How can you tell?
A void hangs around them. Can't you feel it? Unlike anything else, the absence of the Creator's hand.
Want the chosen, like, big, difficult to kill enemies? I guess the question comes down to, does that mean like the 7 deadly sins are actually created by the Creator? It's important to point out that Creator means God, makers mean the troll creatures. So there's kind of this weird inconsistency or confusing of the... Oh, that's a human. I've gotten another achievement. We're still getting achievements like crazy in this game, which I can't hate it because you definitely don't get achievements like crazy in a lot of modern games, probably for a good reason. Well, I hear some kind of noise, but I don't see it. Is the idea that it's an audio-based thing? You have to play hide and seek with it, listening? That definitely would be a different experience. We were down in that area. No, I think it's actually higher up. And just fairly easy to miss. There we go. Let's see. Let's see what our Wrath attack does. He's doing a bunch of purple attacks, so very possibly the purple attacks will be used as a way of refilling his health, but I don't think so. Now, in all fairness, I am just playing this, so there might be a very limited number of Essence of Chosens, come to think of it. I'm playing this on easy mode, so it's not super surprising that I'm winning fairly easily here, and that I'm not having to use the Havoc form very often. Maybe it would have been a little bit better even in story mode if Havoc form was used more often. It probably isn't a better game if Havoc form instantaneously wins the game for you, but I could see a cutscene in some of these fights where Havoc form automatically starts. There is also a potential twist you could have done where Havoc form would implement itself by default if you are about to die, and thus it would give you a second Tome of Undying equivalent. I guess the question is, do I think I could make that jump? I guess the answer to that is no. And that very possibly has killed me completely. Because that killed me completely, I am now back somewhere different than really where I need to be. Let's think. Yeah, it wants me over here, but I want to be on the other side first and go get my souls back.
Of course, Harlow. You are a relentless horseman. It's quite impressive. Enchanting, even.
Keep your flattery to yourself, if you wish to keep your head.
Noted. Your duty to the Serpentine Path remains unfinished. Unlock the next chamber and make with the killing.
So it's reminding you to go back to the void, and
What would you ask of this?
we could certainly
Please
do
take
that.
your time.
Okay. Mangled Freeway. Festering Pool. Cargo Hold. Let's travel to the cargo hold and hope that that is closer to where we need to be. Actually, that may just be a case that that is the closest place. Right. Have to remember how this hall works. I don't know if I actually have to hold the A button on this or not. I think I probably do. Yeah, you do. Alright. And there's only really so fast that you can move. You can try and dash and run through these sequences all you want, but they're fairly limited. Noticeably, also, you have to kind of make the levels back to the point where you're not always using the flame hollow ability to do the double jump. While the flame hollow ability will help a player, there is also just a general idea and desire to have the player keep the force hollow equipped. You would have kind of expected more enemies to respawn. Not running into a great system for killing these characters. Like, it really does just feel like the trick is to dodge. I almost died there. You see that just that small amount of fighting was enough to give me 400 souls, so we are getting fairly large amounts of souls. Where? Alright, we're gonna have to cross back over to get our collection of souls otherwise, though. I don't know any way that you can call it anything other than a mistake, though. That that when you fall into the toxic liquid, you die. When every other instance we run into where you fall to your death, you just reset. And it would have been very easy. I guess there's two versions of these glowing angel characters. And that definitely was more than enough crystal souls to justify going back. I imagine you're not getting on that highway. While it would be cool in a lot of games if you could just run on the ceiling of areas, it gets silly as a concept if they really were going to embrace that. Like, being able to get that high would then imply you could get on top of that building, which would then imply you can get on top of basically every building in the entire game. And that's just a little crazy. I guess there's a shortcut here. So, yeah, it would have been faster had I seen that shortcut. Let's see. The only real problem, though, is that we know in this section in particular, there's a lot of purple things that I could try and run back and collect. Alright.
What would you ask of Take
Let's
Your
look at his
Time?
wares, because there's probably a Force Hollow armor. Let's see. This would be plus 15% for Force Arcane damage, plus 5% for Force Physical damage reduction, and plus 5% Lurchers.
As you wish. Take
As
your
far as
time.
other things we can buy from him, I guess we are really going to try and buy as many demonic and angel artifacts as possible. And I don't know if we actually need any sliver of animaniums, so we'll wait for that.
As you wish.
Actually,
Do make
we should look over here. Mallet of Scorn is now a new weapon. So that is here. Which does mean there's probably an upgrade for the 4th Force Hollow, and then potentially a second upgrade for the Mallet of Scorn Force weapon, and that, yeah. So it really is just 2 upgrades for each of your weapons. And almost certainly the upgrade to this is by doing the Void puzzle area, which it definitely feels like they've intentionally taken a lot of the puzzling aspects and put it in the Void, just as if that makes sense and that would be the right thing to do, is to remove content from your game that to make pretty much just crazy people happy, or
Do they
people
scream,
that just want
Horseman?
to screw around and
What would you
do
ask of
only
me, sir?
action.
Take your time.
I did not play well there. I should have only gotten up to 30,000. Then I should have bought this armor. Because if these are plus 5%
Wise decision.
on top of 5% on top of 5%, I could have done better. A lot better.
As you wish.
Right.
This will be fun for both of us.
I think we very possibly here can get up to maybe 40. Not quite 40. But, yeah.
As you wish. Farewell for now.
But yeah. If the different types of armor are also giving you plus 5 lurchers for shattering crystals, it seems to indicate that that's probably not the case and that these are just color swaps. Whether you want the armor to have slight orange or slight yellow or slight purple, they're doing exactly the same thing except for the force arcane damage difference. So I wouldn't assume that now I actually have 15 physical damage reduction or increased anything. If I needed a whole bunch of crystals, I could still definitely sell a ridiculous amount of these to level up even higher, but of the shards that we picked up. But I don't think I really need that. Alright. So we'll start by getting our strength up to level 20, which is 88%, which kind of feels like 25 very logically would be maybe a max level here. And then I'm just going to pour 2 into our health upgrades. Our Nephilim's Respite, of which we have a capacity of 4, and is still totally capable of filling us up from 0 health to 100% health. And yeah, we want to put more at some point into Arcane also. But if we found out that level 50 was like the max level, and then level 25 is the max level for each subcategory, then that would be interesting. There is also, I suppose, a possibility if we got really, really good armor that we could re-roll and take the levels out of health and then put the levels into arcane and physical strength. And I could go get my weapons upgraded, but I'm not going to bother. I will say that the darker color of the purple sash and the slight purple, I mean, you've got this glowing thing on your chest, so you can't even really see it very well. The darker accents on her outfit, if we could actually see it, I think works better. Purple is a very royal image anyway, so like all that makes a decent amount of sense. If this does just turn into like an underwater fight, I don't know what that really is going to be. Okay. Interesting. So when you're in force mode, you can just walk on the bottom of the water, and then that creates this area in such a way that it is very different from the other water sections we've seen or experienced so far. I was by default just assuming that maybe this was salt water or something. It's also fairly dark without all these growing plants. I guess the question will come down to, is this a dungeon or is it a maze? Or is this just a fight? Yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to actually be sliding that block anywhere in this case. I see a path over here. I see a path over here. I think we are going to be underwater for a while. So bubbles alone aren't going to let you get up to places. So, and fire is probably not going to get you to double jump either. Well, we're seeing electric eels, but that didn't actually seem to hurt me. I can't help but feel like there was an idea there in which electric eels would have caused me some damage if I attacked it when I'm not in electric mode. Yeah, there definitely is an alternate reality version of this game where you would have had to have been in a certain mode to avoid taking so much damage or to deal more damage. Almost like a fighting game with different stances. Or I guess exactly like a fighting game with different stances. But yeah, doesn't seem like that's the way they're going with this. We'll just pop up our head every now and then, see what's going on, and I think we're just going to be out of the water at this point anyways. So that was the extent of an underwater level that they wanted to present you with, which I don't know if I blame them one bit for keeping underwater levels short and sweet, because they never are good. Even in that instance, that wasn't a good interaction. Take note, you would not have been able to cross this gate without that gateway ability, and that's the kind of gatekeeping that I would have expected to see in a lot of other places throughout this game. And yet they really haven't done much of that. I guess they didn't really need to do much of it either. You really cannot go forward without beating the bosses.
Perhaps we should.
It can't have gone far. I will find it.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, I guess there's only pressing forward. Even just because of the fieriness, feels like there's a benefit to playing as the fire character a little bit more often. Right. I think it's probably real smart to have the level not give you, have the game not give you any kind of oxygen limitation. Like that solves one of the problems that is always annoying in water levels, is the fact that you have this artificial timer, and too many game developers are just always focused on using water as a way of removing a player from an area and blocking off areas. And as games become more open world and more willing to allow a player to go in more places, the drowning because you went somewhere you weren't supposed to trope really does need to go away. Right. So this needs a sword to reach.
Could it be there is a second sword, mistress?
Okay. Well, I'm definitely hearing things. So I guess the question is going to come down to, is there actually a big trick happening here? And is this entire room really just a... I cannot throw salvation apparently underwater. Let's test something out here. Okay, so those are basically mines. Down we go. We'll see where this takes us. I half suspect that it'll circle around in some way. Azazel's enhancement enchantment. So we needed an enchantment, so let's see if we can equip one. Yeah. And unfocused Azazel is plus 60 amount of wrath generated per minute, or wrath generated per hit. Regardless, we'll equip it. And it feels like we've gone through the full color spectrum that this game has as far as a color palette. That was just a extra thing. This is really the worst mode to be in, though. I suppose this may be why the purple hair doesn't look so good on Fury, if the vast majority of players would have really only experienced most of the gameplay as one of the hollow forms. I'm seriously gonna need some kind of compass or walkthrough to find all these collectibles, though. This, particularly in an area like this, it just isn't realistic. Interesting. You cannot fight the enemies at all if you're swimming. So anywhere where there's conflict, you're going to be using the gravity mode. There's no real fluidity to this, though. Like, when you are in this magnet ball mode, you're not moving fast, you're not rolling. So compared to something like Metroid Prime, you're just not going to have any fast movement unless there is a dash button that I'm not aware of. No, hitting the right bump on the dash is not doing anything. I have no idea where I'm going at all. But it does seem like these are all very narrow pathways. So I'm assuming I'm going to the right place. Okay. Over there is something, but you can't use a weapon to reach that. But the game itself seems to really imply that we're going down, and then going down, we're not coming back up. So your best case is to see if maybe that would reach the place it needs to reach, but no. That's intriguing that you had skeletons breaking out of coffins in the walls. We've seen the bad guys appear from the sides of walls instead of monster closets, although that arguably is a monster closet. Almost died again. The damage reduction is something I need to improve on. And I'm not sure I really have a way to improve on damage reduction. There's a switch here. Books. Doesn't seem like you can actually break those books. Did we kill and collect everything in this area? I guess you applaud the commitment to the game actually having a water level, and almost certainly wiser people would have said don't. Okay, let's see what this does. It doesn't do anything. So let's stand here. Okay. I can't hit that though. Like, that's not going to get anywhere close. And if I was to throw it at that point, that's not going to get anywhere close either. So, unless... Yeah. We're gonna have to find some kind of heavy, like, rock, like object to push it in this area first. Which I imagine means we're gonna have to go through this area, wrap around upstairs on the other section eventually, and there'll be some big heavy rock that we slide. They probably are tired of us hitting the living creature for the high platform, and logically it would make sense for rocks and the tentacle creatures to be slightly different creatures, even if the gameplay mechanics are pretty much the same. You're hitting them and they're moving forward in a certain direction. The rocks are more linear by far. They go in a straight line. So yeah, standing in this position, it will hit all three of them. That was definitely a puzzle. No denying that. Still getting kind of sucker punched more. There's just like nothing behind that door. This is what I would have preferred in a lot of cases. Like, very often we have doors that are blocked by something like the purple coral, and then you open it and then you have to walk around the corner, and because you're walking around the corner, it just feels like it might be leading you into a completely different area. And then you walk around the corner and you get the collectible, fight the enemy or whatever, and then you end up having to walk back around the corner. Which, that's also a little off-putting. In a funny way, it's kind of just unnatural in both aspects. When you walk around in a circle, the game feels obviously too circular. When you have to turn around and walk backwards, it feels awkwardly like it has dead ends in the level design, when video game level design really shouldn't have any dead ends at all. And it's very noticeable in this game and not very noticeable in most other games. I've not really had to complain about that concept or that feeling ever before. Just look around just to make sure there isn't something more to this. I wonder if the little lightning fish, electric eels as it were, are specifically supposed to just be light lanterns to light your way. Definitely feels like we're not going to fight too many of those creatures. And I have the sword, which means I'm attacking with a very different style. I suspect we might end up having a sword in one final boss fight. And then that would somewhat change the experience. I think that's where we went originally. It's very, very easy to be turned around here. And I'm just trying to do a somewhat decent job of making sure I've seen everything before we leave. Let's see. Over here is something we've missed. Over here is something we've missed. I don't think that there's a shard over here. I think I just caught a glimpse. Down there is something we missed. Over here maybe is where we started. It's kind of hard to tell. No. So there's where the swords go. This is that first area where we really couldn't reach. And I don't think it's something crazy like getting stuck on a ledge. Like the fire ability, which is what I just turned into, won't leave fire when you're in the air that fast, so you're not going to get a double jump around that. Alright, well, my instincts tell me that I should go down here and investigate this area. It is still very much just button mashing. Just a ton of button mashing. Right, so I destroyed a coral thing, and that got me in this area. I guess that I'm supposed to coil around this way. I guess the idea here is to dash like crazy. You really can't make those kinds of enemies though that strong, because if they were strong, then you would just be mashing the button a lot more. Let's see. Can't help but feel like there was supposed to be an exit there. Getting stuck. Okay. But how does one get to the top is the question. Because that didn't really connect. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe we will just get some sort of other ability that lets us walk on water or fly. Because that's all I can really assume, is that there's some weird ability that we're going to get that's going to encourage us to go back. Let's see, this path here gets you to about right here, but not right over that part, so it's not that you are supposed to go halfway on the track and then stop either. Although that is an interesting thought as to what would happen if I tried to shapeshift my hollow form. So if I was up here and then I tried to change into a different hollow form, it doesn't work. I couldn't know. So yeah, it seems like we probably started there, came out here, saw that it was a collectible up here. We see there's a collectible over here. Overall, otherwise, I think we've probably gotten most of the other collectibles. And since the collectibles are just shards, I could sell shards to increase my levels some more, and I think we probably should do that. We probably should just upgrade our weapons again. They are really missing a trick as far as having swords like that, because you should have the opportunity to go to side rooms when you have the sword and take on bigger boss fights, something like that. So, interesting. The game decided to load as it knocks me out of the room. Right. So I would assume the trick here is to try and get a heavy hit on him, on his shield, and that would let you break his shields. But that's not really working, so you still totally have the backup option of just beating on him. Heavily armored new characters seem like they are going to just be a thing, because noticeably there was no special item that was dropped here. Interesting. It almost feels like I should have had him attack this section, because we see there is destructible environment. And I can't destroy the column. That seems really unfair, though. And yeah, I guess even the game agrees that that would have been unfair to have to force the guy to break the wall. So instead there was just a switch. I would have thought I would have seen a shortcut by this point. But this may just be a case that since so much of this is underwater, there's not a lot of good places to put a fulcrum shopkeeper point, checkpoint. Although that does create this odd scenario where it feels like the game is saying you really haven't progressed that much in the water levels compared to other levels. See, there's a subway car, which makes me suspect we might be heading right back into the sewers in the subway section. And I guess I'm wondering if this monster that we're seeing is Envy, since they mentioned Envy's name. The youngest, the weakest, all of that might make a decent amount of sense. And yeah, this is another area we would have to come back to later. If Envy is literally just this monster. Because this monster does seem fairly weak. And yeah, fairly obvious that Fury has some envy in herself. She wants to be the leader of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. When I don't know if there's really the best of reasons why she would care or why she would want that leadership role. I assume War is the leader, but that's almost 100% only coming from the idea that War was the first character we played as in the first game. Let's see. Okay. So we're creating stairs by sliding these around. I assume we're creating stairs in the right orientation. So one of these cubes is almost certainly taller than the other. Did we get everything? Yeah. Well, over there looks like something. Let's double check that. Nope, it's just a glowing plant. Considering how much they use the glowing plants in this area, it kind of highlights the lack of use that glowing plants get in some other areas. And I guess there's a collectible that we're seeing. We're getting little musical cues telling us we're doing a good job. But it all feels like it comes at the expense of actually playing the game, or playing actual music. Okay. I suspect this is a shortcut that takes us back to a place we've already been. Yeah. This feels like...
For your sake, I hope you can't smell that.
Even a faceless one would find itself intoxicated here. Is there some meaning to this particular scent?
Gluttony.
So that way goes towards gluttony. This way maybe goes to saving just a human or getting a collectible. And then this way maybe this just kind of ends over. Yeah, there's a human somewhere over here.
No more. No more. Please.
A human and a collectible. So, yeah. Once again, we've had the wrong direction just to find out that the right direction was a short side trip. I need to be way better at looking at the radar, because anytime there's a fork in the path, I do need to just follow the opposite way. Alright. At this point, there is no concern in shattering all of these crystals. And
Greeting.
we will serpent hole
Take your time.
to the makers. Where is it? Haven, Maker's Forge. There it is. Okay. I'm gonna end up going around in circles a couple times here. Let's see.
Welcome, horsemen. Getting to make crowded for all
In the first game, the
they've got
maker
ready.
was always pounding his
Let me,
hammer on an anvil
boost that little
every
trinket
time
I
you
gave
do that. So now we have an increased Rider's Mercy, which maybe means we just shattered a bunch of crystals when we could have gotten more of an upgrade.
Aiming to lay down a mighty hurt, are we?
Alright, so we need, as far as slivers,
Didn't think that was possible, but now
we need
you're
7
deadlier.
slivers of adamantium.
Interesting. All right, let's see what I can do for you.
And then, let's see, this Leviathan class, we have just enough to finally get balanced Leviathan.
What
And that's going to give us an
beautiful
achievement.
with that.
And noticeably that just fills in everything else. So next we would need 12 more angelic artifacts, which is questionable. Or we need 4 more demonic artifacts, which we probably don't have as an is something we can get. It probably would make sense to go the angelic path on this one, but I don't even have enough of this. That would give you the passive ability of increasing wrath bar per minute. Not that you really even need that.
Some blessings to you, Fury.
So yeah, 7 I believe is the number I said, as far as slivers of adamantium. And then if we get any more slivers of adamantium, it's probably not going to be useful. So hopefully we buy the slivers of adamantium and then we never find any more. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
As you wish.
And then
Your time.
he doesn't really have anything else. I could sell a bunch of things though. But honestly, I sell 10 wrath shards and I get 1,000 from it. Even like the undying shards, you're only going to get 250.
As you wish.
It's probably not worth your time to try and sell that. You're going to get 10,000, which is going to be the equivalence of like 1 level.
Well met, Fury.
So instead, we'll probably be better
You mean
off
to lay down a mighty hurt, are we?
just
It was possible, but now
focusing
you're
on
even deadlier.
having start with the slivers of adamantium.
Some of my best. Anything that was possible.
That brings everything
but
up to
now
3.
you're even
So
deadlier.
any other slivers of adamantium would be for the next guy. Alright, we need 4 and then we need 10 more slivers. I didn't scroll down. And then pieces of adamantium really should only be used on either salvation or barbs of scorn, I'd say. And noticeably, a piece of adamantium upgrades barbs of scorn to 7, whereas, yeah, I guess I could also keep it to increase barbs of scorn. Yeah, I don't think I want to
Interesting.
do any more there.
All right. Let's see what I
And
can
then-
do for you.
That's angelic. Yeah, we don't have any more demonic artifacts. So, yeah, I don't think we can actually do anything. We could power up the demonic obscurus, but that would be a waste.
Interesting. Take care. And watch your back, eh?
So, back we go again. We need 10 slivers, I believe.
What would you like? Take your time.
1,
Wise decision.
2, 3, 4, 5,
I knew
6,
you couldn't resist.
7, 8,
An
9,
excellent choice.
10.
As you wish.
I guess the game didn't actually have us fight 2 enemies in a row. It just implied that we were going to fight 2 enemies in a row.
How come I have him in to lay down a mighty hurt, are we? Anything that was possible. Some of my best.
There we go. We need fragments and pieces of adamantium. And I guess the question is if whether there will ever be something above a piece of adamantium, or if we're just going to get the weapons up to a level 10 and then that will be that.
would you ask of this? Will be fun for both of us.
We were not
As you wish.
quite
Take
to
your
the
time.
point where we needed to be, so. You know what? Selling all of these.
A perfect addition. As you wish. This will be fun for both of us. As you wish. Take your time.
So I just sold all of the small healing shards.
Perfect addition. You drive too hard a bargain, friend.
There's a lot of lines of dialogue here that you're unlikely to actually ever hear.
For both of us. As you wish. Do make sure they scream, horseman.
Now, we're in a good position. Let's see, do we want to upgrade this more? Or do we want to upgrade this more? I think we're back to trying to get our damage up as much as possible. Like, we're in a pretty good position to go into the void and start the next episode in the void.
Please take your time.
Which it might be easier to fast travel to one place and then fast travel to the void, just so we know where we fast traveled from. By doing the void, we'll get the weapon upgrade of the gravity ability fairly quickly. I am not 100% sure it actually is a weapon upgrade, but it is an alternate weapon to say the least.
Please take your time.
Plus, there's a decent shot that we're decent chance that you're going to like the other weapon more. Right, so just go this way. And now we have this way open. So that is the perfect stopping point. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.